FM. It's now time for the big story. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has officially announced the date for Jamaica's general elections. It was announced during a mass rally in Halfway Tree. The date is September 3. He urged voters to support the Jamaica Labour Party in securing their third consecutive term, a historic move if achieved. Nomination day is set for August 18, with the general elections to follow. Public opinion polls indicate a tight race between the competing parties. Additionally, by-elections for 4 local government divisions within the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, namely Chancery Hall, Olympic Gardens, Seavright Gardens, and Denham Town, will also be held on September 3. The question is the EOJ ready, the Electoral Office of Jamaica? Well, joining me at this time is the Director of Elections at the Electoral Office of Jamaica, Mr. Glasspole Brown. Good morning, Mr. Brown. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. Good morning to you and your listeners.
All right. Thank you for joining us, Glasspole. Now, let's take a look, first of all, at what's ahead of us as it relates to Nomination Day, which is August 18. That's the first big one. How are we looking in relation to preparedness for that?
Our preparation is fairly advanced. Nomination Day will be next Monday, the 18th of August. And what will happen, the polls will open at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. For the by-election, though, the polls will open at 12 to 2 for that aspect of the election. Mm-hmm. So we are fairly prepared. We are ready for Monday. Just to remind potential candidates that they need to contact our offices to get some preliminary information in terms of what they need to do if they want to be nominated for the upcoming elections.
Any ideas or thoughts you can share with us as to some of the things that ought to be done and that will take place on Nomination Day?
Well, what will happen that the returning officer who then conduct the nomination exercise in the different constituencies will then assign the different times for different candidates to come.
Yes.
It does not mean that anybody who have an assigned time, they can also turn up if they desire to do so. Mm-hmm. What will happen that you need to get your nomination form, and your nomination form, you must be nominated by 10 persons elected within the constituency. Mm-hmm. And also, you need to fill that form out, and there's an nomination fee. The nomination fee for parliamentary election is $15,000. For the by-election, it's $3,000. And therefore, the designated time, they'll come to the nomination center, present their nomination paper. The returning officer will then go through, check it to make sure that all the information is correct, and then so declare that the person is duly nominated.
Mm-hmm. There is a cost to it, a minimal cost, I believe, isn't there?
Yeah. There's a cost for nomination. Mm-hmm. There's a cost. The potential candidate is required to pay a nomination fee of $15,000 for parliamentary election. For the by-election, which is more for the selection of councillors, is $3,000.
Okay. All right. So, as you said earlier, all systems are a go, and you are quite prepared for Nomination Day. Now, let's look now at the general elections and also the local government elections that will take place on the 3rd of September. How is that coming along in terms of your preparedness?
We started our preparation for the general election from some time ago. We are fairly advanced in terms of the things that we could have done prior to the announcement. In terms of identifying our election day workers, recruiting them, training them, etc. We are fairly advanced. We've got to wrap up that aspect of the exercise by this week. There's another phase which now starts after announcement and more so after nomination day. That includes the printing of ballots, the final list that is to be prepared, that to be used on election day, the preparation of what we call black book. That is a book that has the identification record of every elector within that particular polling station. So that process will now start as we prepare. Then we also be focusing on preparing for what which being is known as the special voting day. That special voting day will be held on the 29th of August. That is the day when the police, the members of the JDF, the persons who will be working with us on election day will cast their ballot. That is 3 or 4 days before the election day.
Yes.
That election, those persons will be casting their ballot on the 29th of August.
Mm-hmm. The matter of the nearness between nomination day and election day within weeks of each other, does that pose any additional challenges for you at the EOJ?
Well, it's challenging, but the law says that it must be done the minimum of 16 days. The government, the Prime Minister, based on his announcement, has given us 16 days after nomination day, and the maximum is 23 days. So we would have preferred the maximum days of 23 days, but the law gives a timeline, and we have to work within that timeline. So we are working towards that timeline, which is this minimum 16 days.
Okay.
It will pose a challenge, but I think we are up to the task.
Okay. Now, will there be any changes to polling station locations or voting procedures due to whether security matters or logistical concerns? Any changes that you wish to highlight this morning?
What we are fairly advanced in our finalization of the polling stations. We're gonna use approximately 500 more polling stations than what we had used in the February 24 local government election. In ours, what we have done is to make the numbers assigned to each polling station a little bit smaller. So therefore, in order to allow greater free access to polling station, because we are seeking to be able to process the electors a bit faster in this election relative to what happened in February.
Mm-hmm.
There are a number of polling stations in terms of, we have increased that number in terms of any increment guidance, and what we have sought to do is to ensure that most of our polling stations, close to 90% would be in buildings. A few would be in tents, but if there's a need for, I assume there's an inclement weather, we'd ask person to make sure that they do the necessary thing to protect themselves and come to the polling station. But whatever it might happen, we will be operating on election day.
Okay. I want to turn out our attention to the whole matter of accommodating voters with disabilities and even voters who may be, in some remote areas. How will the EOJ ensure their accessibility to voting?
All right, what we have sought to do, Richard B. and listeners, is that we have sought to ensure that all polling stations are as close as possible to the geographical area that the polling station is supposed to serve. What will happen this year, we have, in terms of accessibility to our polling stations, for the upcoming election, roughly 98.4% of our polling stations are on the ground floor of buildings.
Mm-hmm.
So upstairs is just one point something percent.
Okay.
So we are moving towards getting all our polling stations on the ground floor to give greater accessibility to persons with some level of disability. At the same time, we are ensuring that the security aspect of it, in terms of different locations, the necessary security arrangements are put in place to ensure the safety of the persons who will descend upon our polling station on the day.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Brown, very often we hear of situations where persons are saying that, for one reason or another, their name has not appeared on the voters list. How can they be accommodated? What kind of support can be offered or provided to resolve any issue that might occur to voters who have such claim?
What I would say, that as long as you are registered, your name would be on the list. And I would encourage persons prior to the election day, they can so check in terms of where they are at the polling station they are assigned to, with the polling location they are assigned to, by just simply going to our offices. So I simply go on site. We have go to www.ecj.com.jm, and they could check and just click on query, and they could check on that listing in terms of whether their name is on the list. Check where they're supposed to be voting on the day. So there are a number of channels that are available for individuals to check to ensure that their name is on the list and ensure that They know where their police stations are located.
Mm-hmm. Is the matter of voter intimidation or electoral fraud on your agenda in terms of your planning, and what measures are in place to prevent these issues?
Well, the process and the marketing that we're doing to prevent voter fraud. The ROPA, which governs us, that the representatives of the People's Act that governs our operation, clearly outline what is regarded as voter fraud.
Mm-hmm.
So we are putting in the systems in place in terms of the necessary monitoring, putting in the necessary personnel in place. So we rely a lot on the security forces, the JCF and the JDF, and a group of persons we call the one-day policemen. So that's a significant amount of security personnel will be part of the process that seeks to provide the necessary security, but also seek to prevent intimidation by whichever party or whichever group in a person there is, as it relates to the elector who want to come on a free passage to a polling station every day. Yes. There are a number of mechanisms in place, a number of processes in place to monitor the process. We will be bringing in what will happen for this election. A number of observer grouping will be here. We'll be having our local observers cafe. We'll be having observers from CARICOM. We'll be having observers from the OAS. We're having observers, I think, from the Commonwealth. And we'll also be having observers from the embassy. This group of persons will observe the process.
Yes. And
that, to a certain extent, helps sometimes to allow for the free and fair process to take place.
Mm-hmm. Many people will be anxiously waiting to hear results toward the evening hours on Election Day. Can you give us this morning any kind of timeline for releasing official election results? And what of transparency and accuracy in those results? What can you say on that matter?
All right. The polls close at 5 p.m. Then after that, what we call the preliminary count will begin. The preliminary counting entails the counting of the ballots in the polling station, guided by the presiding officer, in the presence of representative of the candidate. Every candidate in the election has a right to have somebody there present to count the ballot as they are removed from the ballot box on the day. And that preliminary count is then the box is then transported to the counting center to the custody of the returning officer. So there are some mechanisms there to ensure that the thing is the count is somewhat accurate. And then what we've been doing this time is seeking to allow greater access on our internet platform for persons to so view the count as it's coming. We anticipate that hopefully if everything goes okay, that by 10 p.m. we should be able to give a good indication to the country what direction the votes are going.
Okay. And when does a magisterial recount actually come into play?
When it comes, if a candidate has to file for a magisterial recount, the candidate is of the view that something was awry in the whole process, they can so file for a magisterial recount to take place in the local magistrate court. That has to be done within a couple of days after the final count. It's completed by the returning officer.
Okay. And finally this morning, Mr. Brown, what are your parting words for both candidates and voters? What do you want to say to them today?
Well, certainly for the candidates, just be sure that you're aware of the processes, more so the process as it relates to nomination, what needs to be done, and to whatever guidance they need, to just talk to our returning officers in the various constituencies. At the same time, we say to the electors, appeal that I've been making, I think I've made it a number of times on your station, that you have not yet collected your renewed ID cards. Come and do so. It will allow you to move to the process much faster on election day.
All right, Mr. Brown, I thank you as always, and I wish you a great day and all the best for the season ahead. I know it's a lot of work for you and your team, but we wish you well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, too.
All right, all the best.